So what are the skills and knowledge that a user experience professional needs? Well, it really maps closely to the types of activities and work that I said UX professionals do. So you're going to need to know on the research side, you need to know how to plan and conduct interviews. You need to know how to come up with insights from those interviews, be able to do that. You're going to want to be able to describe your target audience and common ways of doing that, or with things like personas. You're going to want to be able to identify the most important tasks that need to be designed, so coming up with scenarios. You want to be able to describe those tasks in detail, so doing a task analysis or user task flow is an important skill. Being able to come up with journey maps showing what it's like for someone to use the product or service now versus in the future. These are all important skills that might occur during user research up front. In addition, you might have user research skills during and after design. So for instance, there's something called card sorting, which is an important way to research about information architecture. We've mentioned about user testing, and so there's entire methods and protocols for how to test a product to see whether it's meeting your UX goals. There are tools for doing user testing, so having skills around using the tools for a lab, or doing video, or doing remote unmoderated automatic user testing. So these are all skills and knowledge that have to do with user research. During design, there's a whole set of skills and knowledge that are necessary. So I've mentioned about this idea of human factors. So understanding how people see, how people think, how people learn, the whole cognitive psychology and psychology of design. How do people perceive color? Effective layout of information based on what we know about how humans interact with visual displays. So there's an entire science behind this of human factors that's really important during design. In addition, there are best practice principles, industry standards about buttons and forms and layout, and it's important to understand what are those industry standards. And then in addition to that, you've got skills like prototyping and sketching and storyboarding. There are prototyping tools that you may want to be familiar with one or more of them, so that you can create interactive prototypes. So that's a whole body of skills and knowledge is about design and prototyping. And then part of the user research, as I mentioned, or maybe thought of separately, is the idea of user testing. So that whole procedure and protocol on user testing. Now I'm going to add in another piece that I think is really important, which is behavioral science. So we mentioned about psychology of design and understanding from a human factors perspective, but these days, especially if you're asked to design a product that's engaging and motivating and people want to use, I think it's important that you also have a certain amount of skill and knowledge in what's called behavioral science, how to design so that a product is engaging. Now, I would say that I have a PhD in psychology, and that's my specialty. You may find that other people think that's interesting, but not a critical part. But to me, if you're going to design a great experience for a particular target audience, you better know what motivates those people, and then how to build that into the design. So I think behavioral science is also an important piece of knowledge for user experience professionals.